Dear friends, dear colleagues, let's begin our panel discussion dedicated to 25th anniversary of the Institute of Innovative Professions, which makes efforts to create a new concept for people to obtain innovative professions in Central Asia with the help of our foreign partners. Our panel discussion takes place thanks to the collaboration of the ETF, European Training Foundation, and IVETA, International Vocational Education Training Association. I must say a few words about our institute to help you understand where you are now. It's a small private university in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan. The most demanded programs are in design. It's interior design, graphic design, fashion design. We also have a vital training in economics and business. We prepare appraisers and crisis managers. Exciting programs are related to land management and fire safety. And also, we are rather strong in IT training. On behalf of the Institute, I invited my colleagues from around the world to introduce us to their latest developments in pedagogy and education. For non-specialists in pedagogy, it seems there is nothing else to invent in pedagogy. It is all the science and everything is already known there. I'm glad to reassure everyone it is not so. Pedagogy is closely connected with psychology, sociology, management, neurosciences, and other research. We don't know much about how the brain works. So pedagogy develops along with the development of various sciences. For example, there is a simple question of how to train a person to be responsible, and it is still a mystery. Now, for our discussion, dear speakers, please be concise. Each of you should have 10 minutes, roughly like an elevator pitch, to present your concept on improving teaching and learning, and perhaps discuss how to join you for further discussion. Dear participants, please remember that you can always use LinkedIn to connect with our speakers after our discussion. For your convenience, I'm including links to the speakers' LinkedIn pages in the chat on the right of your screen. So please take a look at the chat box and you will find there all LinkedIn links to our speakers. It's better to ask speakers questions now in writing during the debate. The speakers themselves can communicate with each other and ask each other directly. I want the audience to see and hear the European representative and discussion about modern education. At the end of the debate, I think we will have time to ask oral questions from the audience. And we will first give floor to Dr. Fabio Nascimbeni from Italy. He's the leader of the ETF community of innovative educators, and he was behind the global initiative Creating New Learning, which logo you can see on my background. Please join the community. Please join this initiative. How can you do that? It's very simple. We are LinkedIn or Facebook page, or directly you may go to the ETF Open Space page. See the chat box below. You can find the necessary link there. I will put this link to the chat box. So, all right, Fabio, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Vitaly, for the invitation and for the nice introduction. I will try to be very short in this long elevator ride. I will not take more than 10 minutes. And so let me quickly share the screen. There you go. Okay, so my idea is to briefly share with you what we are learning through the work of the community of innovative educators that you can see at the moment in the screen. Just a few data on our community. You see it's a rather large community with members from practically everywhere in the world, with a strong focus on the ETF partner countries, meaning the European neighboring countries. And through this community, what we do through many activities, you can see there webinars, collection of good practices, face-to-face events and discussions. What we do is basically try to share knowledge on innovative teaching and learning practices in different fields. For the moment, for example, we are focusing on three main areas through what we call new learning clubs. The areas are STEAM and innovative teaching, teaching with artificial intelligence, and engaging in inclusive teaching methods for upskilling and reskilling of adults. These clubs are actually small groups of experts, typically led by one specific country. The first, for example, is led from Georgia, and we have with us here Merab Labat, the leader of the New Learning Club. Teaching with artificial intelligence is led by Turkey, and so on and so forth. So these are practically groups where, let's say, innovators, people who have something new to say about the new ways they are actually applying innovative strategies in their teaching, is having an impact on their work, on their learning, and how this is actually can be transferred. Now, just one slide on what we are learning. We have been, let's say, working with this community since already almost 3 years. And during, you can hear me well, right? Because I cannot see you. Okay. Okay, so basically what we are learning, we are learning that innovation does not happen in a vacuum, meaning that even if very often innovative practices are connected to a single educator, to an individual who is actually motivated to work in innovative ways, innovation is always connected to a favorable ecosystem. That can be the school, that can be a project, or that can be something that is actually supporting and providing a space for experimentation. The second thing we are learning is that innovation is not supposed to be scaled all the time. In many cases, innovation stays with the innovative educators, and it is fine like that. We don't need to think that every innovation should be transferred to the school level or should become, let's say, a mainstream practices. In many cases, small innovation islands are exactly what we need for the system to become more innovative. The third is that innovation needs to be supported at the school and at the university level, and this webinar actually organized by Vitaly is an example of how a university is supporting discussions around innovation, so thank you again for this. Another point is that innovation is often cross-thematic. So you have seen before that we are focusing on specific themes, but what we are actually observing is that in many of these themes, discussions touch other themes. Many participants in one new learning club are also working in other new learning clubs. And so in many cases, for example, if you think of the use of technology and artificial intelligence, for example, to teach STEM practices, this is a clear connection between two innovative themes. And the final point, and this has to do with our DNA, with what we do every day and what we are doing also today, is that international cooperation can definitely boost innovation. This doesn't mean, again, that every innovation must become, let's say, an internationally recognized practices. In many cases, things are meant to remain local and to work at the school level, at the classroom level, but international cooperation, what we see is that is typically fostering not only, let's say, the improvement of what educators do, but also the recognition of what they do. And then a final thought, which I think is important for our discussion. I would like then also to hear the opinion of the colleagues, is that we need to keep looking at the big picture. So, for example, now artificial intelligence and generative artificial intelligence is the theme of the moment. Everybody is discussing the impact on education. Every week there are, at least in, for example, just in Europe, many events in different countries on the impact of artificial intelligence on education. And this is what everybody talks about. Then you have what experts talk about, what, let's say, pedagogy experts and learning innovation experts talk about, digital pedagogy, as Vitaly was saying before, neurosciences for education, digital well-being, and so on. But what we don't need to do is to forget the things that are in the bottom of the sea. So there are important things like digital exclusion, like the demographic change, like funding mechanisms, shortage of educators, and other system things, which are very important as preconditions for innovation to happen. What we notice is that many times when we talk about innovation, these issues come out, and we actually foster let's say, the emergence of these important issues, so to be sure, let's say, that the big picture is taken into account. Now, these were just some thoughts about what we are learning in our work in the community of innovative educators. As Vitaly was saying, the community is open to everyone. Many people join just to follow and to learn, so there is not any commitment, but through this link and through the links that Vitaly was sharing before, you can not only, let's say, learn and see what others are doing, but also share your practice, join a club, contribute to specific outcomes and activities, join face-to-face events organized by the community, and of course, and receive also recognition. We are providing open badges to all the innovators who share their work with us. So this is a warm invitation to join the community, and I give the floor back to Vitaly. I hope that was clear. I couldn't see the screen, and I'm connecting from a conference, so I'm a bit, yes, I see people are smiling, so I hope the connection resisted during my talk.
Thank you, Dr. Fabio. May I summarize that if our participants would like to take part in your research, in your investigation, it's better to join various clubs devoted to STEAM education, artificial intelligence, and inclusive education. So am I right? So this is the basic idea how to continue to connect with you.
Exactly. So
the main idea.
Experts or educators can join the community in general and or can join specific clubs, but also they can propose themes for the clubs. For example, now there is a discussion within the community on the issue of green teaching and green skills, which might become the focus of the next club. So it's really a place to propose ideas to be discussed and developed internationally.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Fabio. Dear participant, as I told you, please take notes, and we'll start the debate after all the presentations. Our speakers may ask each other directly because they are in a privileged state, of course, but please be brief because our participants want to hear all of you. And now we are moving smoothly from Italy to the United Kingdom. We now give the floor to Dr. Julian, President of IVETA and CEO of the Warnborough Worldwide Education Group and the Warnborough Foundation. I am a member of IVETA and strongly recommend that our participants join IVETA. See my background. This is the logo of IVETA. And you can also find the link how to join in the chat box to IVETA. So, Dr. Julian.
Good morning. Dobro utro.
Dobro utro.
So, let me just share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Is that clear to everyone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Yes, now
we hear your voice. Excellent.
Okay. Great. Excellent. Thank you very much for the wonderful introduction. I'm delighted to be here with everyone. As Professor Vitaly said, I'm wearing two hats today. I am the CEO of Warnborough Worldwide, which also has a series of institutions under it, including Warnbro College. So those of you who want to work on Erasmus Plus projects, feel free to contact me about that. But the other hat that I wear is I am currently president of the International Vocational Education and Training Association, which is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. Now, I would like to talk about knowledge co-creation as a sort of different way of learning and teaching. And what we want to do, I think I've got the wrong date there. It should be the 17th of October. I'm one day in the future, but that's fine. So what we want to do as educators is we need to, first of all, understand our audience. Who is our audience? Okay. We understand in today's society that all teams are diverse. That means all your classrooms are diverse. All the teachers and staff in your institution are diverse. You all come from different backgrounds. You have different interests, different levels of expertise. So you are diverse by means of who you are. Okay, and all your students are diverse as well. So you are in a classroom that is dynamic and constantly changing. And in that case, does a one-size-fits-all 19th century educational model still work? Maybe not. So there's a plot twist in all of this, which is basically, why don't we view the diversity and differences in our schools and classrooms as strengths instead of weaknesses? Why can't we use each person's ability and transform that into something that could be greater for us as a whole, rather than say, oh, well, you're autistic, go over there. You are dyslexic, go over there, etc., etc. Why can't we work together to raise the level of the whole organization? So let's start really with teachers as learners themselves. I mean, we are often talking about us being teachers teaching our students, but actually, if we don't know how we learn ourselves, how can we hope to make any change with our own students? But you know, there's a difference between andragogy and pedagogy, because in pedagogy, you're basically telling your students what to do. But we know as adults ourselves, we prefer to learn, and we learn more when we experience the contexts ourselves. And in order for creative and open-minded design to happen, we have to provide space and time for us to speak. And what do we mean by that? We need to be able to express our opinions, share our perspectives and our experiences, and also take on that of the other stakeholders, whether they are other teachers or our students themselves or the wider community. So we need to transform ourselves from the mode of thinking where we only talk about our beliefs, like we believe teachers should do this, students should do that, which is basically very instruction-led, towards a design mode which allows you to think creatively. And I think this is a big transformation. It's quite a mindset shift, because as teachers, we usually have very limited time to do what we want to do. We're constrained by the curricula. We're constrained by, say, having to do X amount of things within a certain time limit, an academic term, for example. So it's really, really hard to try and shift your mindset into, let's do A, B, C, D, E by this time, into a creative design mode. So what is knowledge co-creation? Can it be an alternative for you and your organization, or the way you approach learning? Well, this is where we want to go to, the destination. We want to have something of value, whether it is learning or whether it is the ability to do something better, a different way of thinking, an invention. This is something that we want to reach. This is our destination. So we have to look at all the stakeholders involved. The first one, for example, would be the teachers, and then the students. And maybe if we're talking about vocational education, we need to look at companies as well, because you are training people for the industry. Even if you're in higher education, your students have to graduate and go somewhere. And where do they go? Into industry. And if you're just teaching in this microcosm of your university or your school, that is sort of separated from reality. So we have to bring people into the same conversation. And all these stakeholders work hard together and learn together in order to create something of value, because then it makes sense. You're not doing things in isolation. So very simply, this co-creation process is the result of research created by a mutual friend of some of us, Vitaly and Svetlana. You would know Dr. Frank de Jong from Aarhus University. He has come up with his research to show that the co-creation process consists of 5 stages, which would be, and this is only a small part of the diagram, because if I show you the whole thing, it might look too scary. So I'm just showing you from the perspective of teachers here, that we start off by being able to explicate our ideas. This means that we need to be able to express our own beliefs about certain things, because your belief might be different from mine. So if we can share different ideas and put them on the table, then it's immutable. If you actually think about it but don't say anything, well, then it's neither here nor there. But if you actually say it out and put it out there, we all have to confront it. And then if you go to the next level, which is we form groups together of similar interests and beliefs, and then we start to work together. And again, even that process, those of you who know about group forming will know that there are at least 4 stages in the traditional view, right? The forming, storming, norming, and then performing, etc., etc. And then after that, when we are in a group, we are able to support each other. And here is where it becomes very important to understand that no one idea is more important or more clever than any other idea. Because if you say that, oh, I'm cleverer than you and I have more experience than you, then you are preventing the actual sharing process to develop into something stronger. And the whole idea of having this group forming experience is to show that all ideas are valid somehow, because it is important to your process, not necessarily somebody else's process. And then you use research and analysis to ground depth into your ideas together. And then out of all that, out of all the different ideas you've thrown into the pot and the research you've done, one main idea will rise above. And that will be the one that you as a group have developed creatively, and you can then go public with it. And again, all of this is not possible unless there is a feedback loop. As you can see, you have to keep feeding back and improving and developing. So anyway, this is just a very, very short example of how we can co-create knowledge. And I'm happy to talk about this during the roundtable part of the things. But ultimately, it comes down to a paradigm change, right? We often talk about students and transforming them, but we actually need to also talk about the other stakeholders in this case, which are the teachers and the schools, and also the wider community around us, okay? So who is ready to have this paradigm change? Just quick plug here. We are celebrating our 40th anniversary, as I said. Our theme this year is reviewing and reframing TVET to improve economic and social outcomes. And I always say this because people often look at technical education as the poorer cousin to higher education. It's like, oh, you didn't get good enough grades to go to university? Never mind, go to tech school. So I want to change that, because really, TVET is very, very important. And our conference is happening the 4th to the 7th of December in San Antonio, Texas, USA. We invite you to come. You will have access to 2,500 exhibitors. There are over 3,000 sessions running concurrently with IVETA's own events. And these are some of the activities you can see down there. For more information, please visit our website, iveta.global. And these are some of the links you can go to. So thank you very, very much. Vitaly, back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Julian. Your presentation was meaningful, and I search always a skill to solve a problem. And I see that to train open mind is a great task for us, because for co-creation process, basically you need an open mind. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Yes. So this is a task for us for research, for future research. So thank you, Dr. Julian, again. And now we go to Serbia, Belgrade. Svetlana, we see your presentation.
Yes, thank you, Vitaly. It's so nice to see you and Julian again. And I would like to wish you long and good work to your institute and your anniversary on the institute. It's always difficult to speak after Julian because he's so good in it, but I will do my best. Today I will tell you something about the innovative practice in education at the Academy of Technical and Art Studies. My department is Electrical and Computing Engineering Applied School.
Svetlana, I think you've muted yourself.
I'm sorry, how much didn't you hear of it?
10 seconds.
Good, because I tried to change the slide and it didn't happen. So I would like to say that my department this autumn celebrates 50 years of work. Since these 50 years, a lot of things happened, a lot of innovations happened. Everything is changed. We passed through a lot of different times. We had many changes in the approach of learning and teaching. Now we face, as Julian said, always the people were different, and we always have different kind of students which take our courses with different interests, with different way of thinking, and the traditional way of teaching is changed a lot. And we have now a population, we have some common factors in our new population of students. I think that you would agree that our students, they grow in digital environment. They communicate with social networks and other ways of communication that most of us didn't used to do in that way. They're a little bit impatient. They want more. They want fast. They put their goals in different way than in, for example, in my time. They want, a lot of them are inspired by what are they going to do after they finish school. How is that going to help them find better works? And I must say a lot of students think of the payment as one of the very important things in choosing professions. I don't know if that is your experience. Nowadays, a lot of digital platforms are developed for supporting the teaching process. And we have a lot, teachers have a lot of possibilities to improve teaching, to make teaching more interesting, to make it more just to different people, to different students. Some of them are working, some of them are young and restless, and that goes always like this. In our school, we don't have now online courses. We have a kind of a hybrid environment. Face-to-face teaching is happening, but a lot of students, as I said, are working already and they cannot go to classes. We use LS Moodle, Learning Management System Moodle, for a long time. Now we've installed a new version of it. It is, in our opinion and experience, very good because it allows good communication with the people who are on the course. We can give them all the information about the important dates or notices on the course. We can form forums where they can exchange their opinion. We can upload our learning materials we use on classes and extra learning materials. Of course, I would like to say that a lot depends on the teacher and the way of his or her approach to creating materials, knowledge, and wish to engage in such a big challenge. The technology is here. We have a lot of media, different media, which can support learning process. But what is the right way to use it? I think that depends on the topic a lot and on ability of teacher to make some steps forward. Moodle supports tests and allows students to do different tasks, to upload their materials. You can see here one of the my courses, web design, where I use these sections to make a little gallery of students' work. They are glad to see that their work is valued and it can be seen by all other members of the course. Innovation always gives new technologies, not only in digital world, but in equipment. Should we fascinate students with having some kind of equipment? We purchased VR equipment thanks to the ProVet project. And what can I say? Yes, why not? People in my country do not have the experience of using VR equipment, and we offer them such a thing. This can be interesting for some of the students. We said a lot of diverse people are out there, and for some of them it's very challenging to try something like this and be able in one formal education to do so. Of course, some go further, and here I will not play you the video. It has a virtual classroom made by students. First, one student made final work of a virtual classroom, and now as her final exam, and now other students are improving this solution. So this is, of course, a kind of innovative work, and teachers who help them do such tasks. Of course, I don't know if somebody, I think Julian said something about that, but maybe a school cannot have only formal education in their work. We formed a Center for Audio and Video Production, which is not a formal course or nothing else. It's a center where some bands, some of them very popular, record their albums, and the students work as a practice, and some of them paid practice. It depends on the project. And they like it very much because this is practical. They get rewarded for it. It's informal. And I think that those informal methods give some interest for students, for courses which belong to the formal part of the study, because now they see that this is very applicable and that is getting them somewhere. Of course, we cannot acknowledge the third party in the process, and that is industry. People would like, as I said in the beginning, to be able to find good jobs after they finish school. So the cooperation with the companies is very important in a few aspects that can support this formal education, because students see that some new practices are in teaching process, that we have contacts and find out innovations in industry. So it's maybe good to include some speakers, some experts in traditional teaching, or in some discuss panels, which can be organized in institutions. This kind of cooperation in our school gets the contracts with the industries, where they take our students for practice, some of them for paid practice, some of them only to gain experience. But the very good side of it is that sometimes our students get the chance to work in these companies where they had their practice. And at the end, one unavoidable topic I expect this panel discussion is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a big topic in the whole spheres of society nowadays in Serbia, and I expect in whole Europe. And in technical school, as my school is, which has computer science programs, this topic is main topic of a few courses. So this is the right place for students to know what is artificial intelligence, where can it be practiced, and what are the best ways to do so. In general learning, a lot of teachers have this kind of reaction on artificial intelligence, that for example, ChatGPT writes essays or solves computer problems with the whole code for programming. But is that so? And how do we fight with this not wanted use of artificial intelligence? Well, I don't know, it's a big topic, but maybe through discussions. What is wrong if the students get information about some topic from ChatGPT? Nothing. The informations are true, they are good, but we should use them to do so as a source of information, and to discuss with them, and then for them to get knowledge in whatever area they are searching for it. So this
Svetlana,
artificial
Svetlana,
intelligence.
may I ask you to be a little shorter? We have a lot of
Vitaly,
Sorry.
this is the end.
The end. Okay.
I'm sorry if I take too much
Sorry
time.
for interrupting you. Sorry.
I'm finished. I'm sorry.
You finished? No, because
Yes, it was the end. I only wanted to make a point that it would be. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Svetlana. It's very interesting because the problem with using artificial intelligence inside the classroom or outside the classroom is very typical, and our students sometimes use it not properly. Am I right? Yeah. So this is also a great task to make innovation when we find a harmony between using artificial intelligence and learning process. Am I right?
Yes.
So here we can find this innovation. And it's time for us to move south again, because now we were in Serbia, and now we ask Dr. Martin Borg from Malta. He's the founder and CEO of EDU Alliance, Tibet expert and advisor at UNESCO Univoc. Dr. Martin, please, you're on.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be among a community of practitioners. I really like also the interventions of my previous colleagues, because this is what we are. No, we are practitioners wanting to share experiences. We've heard about co-creation, which is links to this. So it's a pleasure. I want to very briefly start my presentation by providing a context, because, a context gives also an important meaning. And in my 25 years experience, I believe that education, vocational, but also higher education, sometimes we make these distinctions, but they are somewhat blurred. Because, even a surgeon, who is a real top profession, also has vocational training that he needs to do. So to my mind, the distinction between vocational and higher education can be somewhat blurred. But I think we would all agree of the transformative power of education, whether it is vocational, professional, secondary, primary. And how the world is changing. It's changing at a very fast rate, not only because of industry, but also of the way we are, as humans, developing and evolving. And so I wanted to share with you a very brief presentation, which I will structure into 4 parts. First, we'll go through how the educational landscape is changing or evolving. Secondly, the challenges that this evolution brings to education. Thirdly, then I would like to share some very simple case studies, because we learn by sharing experiences as well. And finally, some key areas of work which will require leadership in going forward. This is, of course, sharing my experience. So without much further ado, on the evolution of education, clearly what we are seeing today is an increased number of people looking for adult learning. This is because, recent data is showing that approximately 40%, actually 37% to be exact, are learners that are aged 25 or older. So here we're seeing a demographic shift, which is driven by a desire for advancement in career and personal fulfillment. So this is a driver of change. Secondly, the challenges of integrating technology, like online platforms. I'm sure you're very familiar. The previous presenter presented very, very well on MOOCs and learning platforms, and they are, without knowing, changing the way we communicate, we learn, we take on information. There is a trend, I'm sure you agree, that the focus on lifelong learning. We keep on learning, not only learning for a degree or for a vocational qualification, but a trend of learning through short courses. Very short courses like microcredits have become very, very popular. In fact, the World Economic Forum has predicted that by next year, 85 million jobs may be unfilled due to a lack of skilled workers. And 85 million in terms of jobs means a response is required. Clearly, we have also seen these last, I would say, 20, 25 years, an increased emphasis on skill-based education. The first presenter on the European Training Foundation, they are also promoters, of course, of skill-based education, not only in Europe, but worldwide. Very interesting to know that according to a McKinsey and Company survey, 87% of executives have reported that they're also experiencing skill gaps in their workforce. So this, in a nutshell, is the evolution of the educational landscape, with challenges, as I previously presented, challenges being manifested into several forms. Apart from the new technologies, financial concerns are occurring. They're still there. They're still present, with the digital divide and the poverty divide as well affecting. Challenges because also adults have multiple responsibilities. They would need to often juggle between work commitments, life commitments, and education at the same time. Adopting to new technologies can be also not straightforward, to say the least, especially when adults are facing new technological tools and new online platforms. Sometimes many adult learners have reported that they feel aware of this digital landscape. More than aware, I would say overwhelmed with so many new changes happening. And while youth can, be quick to adapt, adults face these challenges. At the same time, traditional settings of, instruction-led, whereby we have students or learners facing the tutor in a traditional lecture or lesson, usually disengage our students, even if they are adults, let alone if they are younger. The attention spans are decreasing. Social media, the effect of social media is such that the attention span has decreased because there is an overload of information. So with this evolution and with these challenges, how can we be more innovative? I think this is the question that there isn't one answer to it, of course, but this is the question that we need to really try and answer. In my case, I will share very simply 3 cases, realistic cases, that Edu Alliance, which is a company based in Malta, has focused with partners. The first one is the Bridging the Gap exercise, whereby together with a company based in Italy, the name is Epicode, and Epicode is a company of people who work in artificial intelligence and coding, whereby we have created a program on artificial intelligence, which is based predominantly on work-based learning, but also on instructional methods, on soft skills, which is very, very important, such as critical thinking, analytical thinking, etc. The impact of this program, whereby, we literally created this program by bridging the gap because of an industrial requirement, resulted in that over 90% of participants, of learners, immediately had jobs on start of the course. So not after or during, but when starting the course, we had 90% of participants who already had employment, thus bridging the gap. A second case, and this has also been referred to by my previous presenters before me, is on using hybrid learning models. Hybrid learning models that would allow for synchronous, but also asynchronous modes of learning, whether this is online or or a combination, also relates to one of the educational theories by Howard Gardner of multiple intelligences, that we all learn differently. And therefore, our education can reflect this reality. In such cases with hybrid models, we have measured student engagement, and we have seen a 40% increase in student engagement when hybrid learning models are applied. Finally, the third case, these are real projects, is that this is actually a project which is in progress. Okay, it's not been completed, so I cannot produce actual results. But the idea is to formulate a quality assurance, not framework, I would call it a quality assurance toolkit that would be better as an outcome, which would be a toolkit for people working in industry, but also for education and training providers on how to measure quality for micro-credentials. Micro-credentials have increased in popularity. Industry requires short and intensive courses. University professors and vocational lecturers have skills which can, easily be provided through micro-credentials, and at the same time be more responsive to labor market demands and also individual requirements. And with this, I conclude, because my final point is that, this ultimately requires leadership. And by leadership, it doesn't mean, necessarily the CEO of an entity. Each and every one of us can lead. It could be a student who can lead. It could be an educator who can lead. Through examples of curriculum development, technology, quality assurance, and collaboration. Hearing my fellow colleague, I would actually, learning from the presenters here, I would say even global co-creation, which could be a very interesting model as well, not only within a community, but also globally. And so I conclude in saying that the future of education lies in how able we are to change and therefore adapt and collaborate through innovation. I thank you for your attention. I hope I wasn't too quick, but obviously I would be more than pleased to engage in further discussions and also for this presentation to be disseminated to the participants. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Martin. Your presentation was very informative, and I am again about skills which we need. And I found it in your second section about challenges. And to my mind, that self-doubt is the most critical point for us. And how to train to have no doubts. I think this is a great task, but from the other side, self-confidence is not good also. Am I right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the more that we work, the more we notice that, feelings of inadequacy can be solved by simply talking.
And do you agree that we can find a method to train overcoming this self-doubt? Am I right?
I agree fully. I mean, I think one could speak about focus strategies on how to create supportive communities. Because supportive communities are there, like Vitaly, like you are creating here with us.
Yeah.
We can be called the supportive community. So, when you're creating supportive communities like you are creating, this allows us, to sometimes check. So from my side, I will surely follow up, for example, on the co-creation model. I will surely follow. And I will ask. And so by asking and engaging, I think it's one of the strategies that can allow for self-doubt to reduce. This would also be my personal opinion, but also research.
Thank you, Dr. Martin.
My
So now we are going, I don't know where, to the United Kingdom or Belgium. So Dr. Hazel Israel is a director.
Hello. Hi, good morning.
May I introduce you, as I usually do in this panel discussion. Dr. Hazel Israel, she's my friend. We are working now in one project, Daria SCAFFOLD. Basically, she's a director of Bantani Simro Community Interest Company. And why I say that from UK or Belgium, it's not easy now for us to determine now where our speakers live and work. I hope you will get an informative presentation about the SCAFFOLD tool, which the ETF is now implementing in Central Asia within the project Daria SCAFFOLD. Dr. Hazel will present us, I think, with a theory of the question. But the next speaker, Dr. Zibo from Uzbekistan, will explain how this pedagogical technology is implemented in Uzbekistan. So we have twice presentation combined together. So, Dr. Hazel, have the floor, please.
Thank you very much, Vitaly. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very pleased to be here today. I actually live in Wales in the United Kingdom, but I'm in England today for the purpose. But yes, we work across Europe in the European Bantani Education Company also. But yes, I'm very happy to be here today to tell you about SCAFFOLD. I'll just share my presentation with you. Okay, so we have a nice quote to introduce SCAFFOLD. Learning is like a tower. You have to build it step by step. So what is the SCAFFOLD deck of cards then? It's a tool for teachers and educators, a deck of 102 cards. You can use the deck in formal or non-formal learning, in any subject, in multidisciplinary cross-curricular projects, any type of learning. Also, the tool is very flexible in the sense that you can use it to design very small tasks or activities, one lesson, one module, one course, a 2-year program. It's very flexible. And the purpose of the deck is to integrate and combine multiple key competences into the learning process. So we work in Bantani with the European Key Competence Frameworks, and increasingly to meet the needs of the twin transition, the digital and green transitions, which we are all in the middle of, we are finding ourselves co-working these key competence frameworks. Whereas when we began, we were working mostly with EntreComp, which is the key competence framework for entrepreneurship and employability and value creation, if you like. It's really exciting to be able to bring those frameworks together because, of course, innovation in digital or innovation in green needs those creative, collaborative, value creation approaches. And I would say that this tool is very innovative because it is a concrete deck of cards. It's an analog tool. And this makes a refreshing change for those of us who spend most of our working lives on screens, working with digital tools. And most frequently, it is the digital tools which seem to be at the forefront of innovation. So it's really lovely to get back to something that you can hold in your hand, a deck of cards that you can shuffle and lay out on a table, pick one, combine in random ways. So it's fun to use in that sense. So here's so we have been using SCAFFOLD.
Өзің жеп қойсаң, кішкене жақсы қалып қалады да.
Sorry, I just paused a minute there to see if there was a question going to be asked, but I think somebody's got some background noise on their laptop, so I shall carry on if you can hear me, okay? Okay, so we've been using SCAFFOLD. The first time we used the whole deck was in Kazakhstan with teacher educators from the 5 Central Asian countries. It was a very demanding session, but very satisfying and very enjoyable. And what was very interesting was to see how teacher educators from very different jurisdictions and very different sort of educational approaches were able to meet and come together and work together on some shared methodologies and pedagogies which have been found, which we are recommending through the SCAFFOLD card as ones which work particularly well to develop these key competences. So we've been using the cards with people from universities, people from further education and vocational colleges, and more recently, we've been using the decks with teachers of small children and teachers in secondary as well. So it's great to see how versatile and flexible the deck can be. So we've got 5 different types of cards in the deck. There are the settings cards, which set out the shape of the lesson, objectives, who are the learners, what do they need, what's the learning environment, how long's the lesson going to be, you know, those standard sort of issues or decisions that a teacher makes when planning a lesson. And we have the planning cards then that create a canvas or steps to take, a procedure or protocol, if you like, in terms of the order in which the cards are set out. And the competence cards. So we have transversal competence cards. There are 7 of these, and a deck of cards for each of the key competence frameworks, those being EntreComp for entrepreneurship and employability, GreenComp for sustainability, DigComp for digital skills, and LifeComp for personal and social skills. And what's particularly helpful as well is on the deck of cards, on each of the competence cards, there's a good with feature. So it'll recommend clear links between the frameworks. So if somebody is new to one of the frameworks and wants to begin to integrate digital skills or green skills into their curriculum, the suggestions are actually on the cards as to what are effective links between the different competences. We're particularly pleased with, I think, the teaching methods and the assessment methods. So these create a library of pedagogical approaches which can be used to develop key competences in an integrated way and provide practical guidance on how to implement this method for people who are new to it, what we feel to be the most important aspects of those teaching methods. We've also recommended assessment methods on the 7 assessment method cards, and these assessment methods can be used for that initial assessment to establish a baseline, for diagnostic and formative assessments, but equally for summative assessments. So these assessment methods can be used at the beginning of a learning period, during or afterwards. So that's 8 minutes. So what I'd like to tell you about it then is that these cards are being very well received and are promoting some creativity in our experience so far, in the sense that teachers can begin to build interesting and creative combinations between the competence frameworks, but it just supports educators to try new things and to develop these key competences, which all our students and teachers need to be innovative. And I think that's 9 minutes. So is that okay, Vitaly?
Okay, fantastic. 9 minutes. Thank you, Dr. Hazel. Your presentation was very significant for us. And now I ask Dr. Zibo to continue the idea of using scaffold for improving teaching and learning. Dr. Zibo Isakova is a professor at Webster University in Tashkent, ambassador of the ETF community of innovative educators, and facilitator of Module 3 of the ETF Daria project in Uzbekistan. So, Dr. Zibo, you're on.
Thank you so much for the nice introduction. I am trying to switch on my video, but it seems to me that my webcam is not working or something like this. So sorry for that. And yeah, thank you for invitation. And as it was said, the scaffold framework, which we're trying to implement within the Daria project, provides a robust tool for enhancing educational practices by focusing on competency-based learning. And today I will walk you through how this framework has been introduced in Uzbekistan, who it has impacted, and what we can do next to what we are doing to expand its benefits actually. In this slide, you can see the brief summary of training sessions which held in 2024, right after Kazakhstan workshop, which was mentioned by Dr. Hazel. Our trainers started to disseminate the results and disseminate information about scaffold in different locations of Uzbekistan. And here you can see that actually all trainings did receive positive feedback, but yeah, there were some challenges contacted with logistical issues, and also there were lack of administrative support. On this slide, you can see the attendance number for trainings in Uzbekistan. We are actually proud to announce that totally 2,081 educators participated in these sessions. And this number reflects not only interest but a real commitment from educational professionals to improving their teaching practices through the scaffold framework. So here you can see that most of the trainings was organized in during the August 9. So that was right after these summer breaks for teachers. And in next slide, you can see the city-wise attendance, and so the capital, Tashkent, the most trainings was held in the capital city, Tashkent. And these also recorded the highest participation. However, it also from this slide, it's visible that it's also there is need for more outreach to ensure educators from smaller or more remote cities are equally able to benefit from scaffold training. So next slide. That Dr. Hazel already mentioned about audience type. We also had variety. We have representatives from different organizations. In addition, we have representatives from the mono centers under the Ministry of Labor and Poverty Reductions. So after each seminars, we had feedback, and we analyzed this feedback, developed a report, and sent this report to the Ministry of Higher Education and Innovation. And here on this slide, you can see some of the some of the very often faced challenges. So our trainers faced these challenges, which is connected with the misalignment with the state standards and some difficulties with assessment and evaluation. So in the report, we also try to try to develop some solutions to the challenges we had during the trainings. And one of the solutions, so here on the slide, you can see some solutions provided by our trainers and personally, me also, we worked on the alignment with the state standards, and also we really need the very strong administrative support, and we also developed some suggestions to strengthen this support. And so the ministry was very supportive, and the Ministry of Higher Education still very supportive. By order, they met, or the ministry support us with implementation of the scaffold technique, scaffold approach during the August sessions, and this support was focused on deputy directors, which they are one of the administrative personals in the education sphere. So by the order from the ministry, our trainers and our team worked on the introduction and implementation of the scaffold during the August sessions, and it helps. So it supports very well. And we have professional education institutions, and right now they are working on the implementation of this scaffold technology in their learning processes. And after organizing 2 sessions in Tashkent and Samarkand, so we also collected feedback from the participants, and all the feedback which is related to the local adaptation and practical use in institutions, and some solutions to address challenges and feedback was sent to the ministry and to the local representatives. So with the support of local administration, Ministry of Education, nowadays I can say that at the institution of retraining and training, we have regular training sessions, and even the course on scaffold implemented on professional development courses. And so after each courses, we again paying attention on collecting feedback. So there is some spheres which needs to improvement. So one of them is about monitoring systems, and so there is a need for monitoring systems because as you know, the monitoring can help to improve and to enhance the tools. And also nowadays our trainers and the team so besides with the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Higher Education and Innovation, we are working on the ongoing assessment, so how to track the effectiveness. And yeah, I can say so the practice of scaffold in Uzbekistan is already showing promising results. And by continuing to expand the reach of scaffold, especially into underserved areas, and by refining in its application to fit our unique context, we can ensure that this framework has a lasting impact on education in Uzbekistan. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to discussing ways we can continue to implement and expand this valuable tool. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Zibo. Now we know that Scaffold is a great tool, and your presentation was insightful. And I think that your presentation was the center of our panel discussion, because one of the goals of our panel is that I'd like to attract attention to Central Asia, where I live now. And you see that a tool, very good tool, developed in Europe can be and being implemented in Central Asia, dear European partners. So thank you, Dr. Zibo, once more.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm in full agreement that there is a clear need for ongoing support and follow-up sessions. So yeah, thank you again for invitation.
Okay. Now the next speaker is from Nigeria, to my mind. If I'm wrong, Mr. Seruma will correct me. He is a director of White Cloud TVET Solutions Limited and EDU2 Global Limited and president-elect of IVETA. And again, please join IVETA. It's a powerful organization worldwide. Seruma?
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
Please go on.
Thank you for inviting me to speak on this program. The title of my presentation is Bridging Skill Gap Through Multi-Stakeholders Engagement in TVET. So why this skill gap? You can agree with me that there is skill gap in every sector of the economy due to new technological advancements, environmental stroke climate change, digitalization of education, and new innovations in TVET. These have posed challenges for TVET globally. And what are the challenges to TVET? New curriculum development, new infrastructure for TVET, human capacity development for TVET teachers, and implementation challenges of this new curriculum. In addressing the skill gaps, government alone cannot do this. So we need to use this multi-stakeholders approach to address skill gaps in TVET. Who are these stakeholders? We have government, we have TVET institutions, we have industries, we have religious leaders, community leaders, and civil society organization, international organization like IVETA, then World Bank, UNESCO. So they need to come together to address these skill gaps, and they can do this through human resource sharing model. When I say human resource sharing model, someone from the industry, someone from TVET institution, they can come together to implement TVET curriculum in TVET institution. Also, school industry-based approach. While you spend some time in the TVET institution, you need to spend some other time in industry to get this competency to be able to perform in the world of work. Then stakeholders engagement in TVET and curriculum development. If they want to develop curriculum in TVET, we need to involve the industries, we need to involve the TVET institutions, we need to involve the teachers, we need to involve parents, and we need to involve equipment manufacturers so that we can produce TVET expert that will be beneficial to the society. Then the last one is public-private partnership in funding TVET program. So if we want to bridge these key gaps, there should be adequate funding for TVET program for smooth implementation. Now, my company, Think TVET Global Consult and Edutor Global Limited, what we do, we bridge the gap between TVET institution, industry, teachers, students, and NGO to help cross-fertilize ideas to promote TVET for sustainable development. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Siruma. So now we were in Africa. Okay, Central Asia and African countries. I don't know that we have some joint project. I think that it's a good opportunity for us, Siruma. Am I right? We must
Thank you.
We must develop something
Yes.
in this direction. Thank you again. And finally, we are going to Germany. So our Dr. Oleg Krikatov is a scientific staff member of Leipzig University of Applied Sciences and manager of the master's degree program Structural Engineering. Dr. Krikatov, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation to participate in your conference and panel discussion. So, yeah, I have prepared a very short presentation, which combines some theoretical settings and also examples of our practice at our university. Yeah, so maybe I should use another document. Do you see the presentation now? Yeah. 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 Finally. So I represent University of Applied Sciences HTWK Leipzig. A few words about Germany. So system of higher education is quite well developed in Germany. So at the moment we have 583 universities, and of course you all know that the first European university was established in Bologna, and the second was established in Heidelberg, and Leipzig University was number 2 in Germany. And my university, HWK, was founded in 1764 as an engineering school and technical university. And now with more than 6,600 students, we are considered as one of the largest technical universities in Germany. In our city, Leipzig, we have about 13 institutions of higher education. Yes, expenditures on universities and colleges in Germany is around 1 billion euros in 2022. Of this, 41 billion euros cost for personnel and staff. So we have about 3 million students in universities and colleges, and about 460,000 are international students who came from abroad, from India, China, Latin America, etc. So I work as a faculty of civil engineering as manager of master programs. So I will speak about civil engineering education and nowadays as global challenges such as climate change, urbanization, and resource depletion become increasingly present. So civil engineering education also has to evolve to address these issues. And in Germany, there are many rigorous engineering programs and try to integrate innovations and sustainability into engineering curricula, adapting degree programs to prepare future engineers for the challenges of sustainable development. I can distinguish a few general trends of innovations which we have in civil engineering education. So number one is advanced technologies and digital tools. So here we can speak about incorporation of advanced technologies such as building information modeling, geographic information systems, computational design. These tools enable students to visualize and simulate projects more effectively, enhancing their understanding of complex engineering concepts. For instance, at HTWK Leipzig, we have integrated BIM, Building Information Model, into courses, allowing students to collaborate in digital models and optimize project outcomes. This hands-on experience not only prepares students for the workforce, but also encourages a mindset of innovation. So trend number two, interdisciplinary approach. Modern engineering challenge require interdisciplinary solutions. So we include courses from environmental science, urban planning, economics, and which this emphasizes the importance of teamwork of people from different areas of or professions to work on project-based learning models. By fostering collaboration among various fields, students learn to address the multifaceted nature of sustainability, considering social, economic, and environmental impacts in their designs. So, and shortly, trend number three is research and development opportunities. Research, of course, plays a critical role in driving innovations in civil engineering. We provide students with opportunities to engage in cutting-edge research projects, often in collaboration with industry partners. In our faculty, we have about 10 research centers or institutes on sustainable construction materials, energy efficient building technologies, and etc. And we invite students to take part in our projects. So if we speak about more detail, so we can distinguish some tools like advanced construction techniques, artificial intelligence, machine learning, smart infrastructure, digital technology, sustainability and resilient design, integration of renewable energy, virtual reality, and augmented reality. So this is very obvious and I can say trivial. So let's keep to the next slide. So speaking about sustainability, we can distinguish such general trends in civil engineering education like sustainable design principles, climate resilience and adaptation, or lifespan assessment and circular economy. So this can be achieved through a variety of methods, including reduced raw material consumption and the use of recycled materials, and very natural materials, eco-friendly materials, and traditional, like soil, clay, wood, cork, bamboo, straw, sawdust, and etc. Low energy structures, passive houses, waste water treatment facilities, lower transportation costs, and so on. I can give you some examples of these tools. So, for example, on September 1st this year, our university established a special center for innovations and sustainability in the field of wood construction. So it's a big research laboratory or big hall when students and researchers can develop and test new concepts for material saving solutions on a one-to-one scale at application level. The traditional building material, wood, is seen as a source of hope for making the construction industry more sustainable. In its production and utilization, it is more climate-friendly than other building materials, such as energy and resource-intensive reinforced concrete, for example. The demand for timber buildings has been growing and increasing for the last many years. So this is not a serious real practice. So you can find many construction sites in Germany using timber and wood. And that's why there is a great demand to make applied research and development projects in this field. So this project has been implemented in cooperation with the Ministry of Saxony, and we have a big budget to run this project. So another example related to traditional building materials. So on October 1st, we have conducted the first symposium, Sustainable Building and Renovation, at our university. And this symposium addressed the questions: how can the construction industry build today for future generations? What potential does the existing building stock offer, and how can builders renovate in a circular way using ecological building materials? So that was a big event with dozens of guests for 2 days of very intensive work, and we had also exhibitions and master classes on very traditional construction materials like wood, timber, clay, sand, and etc., etc. So so this shows that it's a big focus on traditional raw materials as part of innovation and sustainability. Regarding methodology, we have also some innovations in curricula and degree programs. So at our university, we have two special programs. One is blended learning in cooperation with Austria. So we have a special program for civil engineers, for students of civil engineering. So it's a combination of theoretical study and practice. And in blending models, we make lectures both in online and offline format. So a key element of this program is cooperation with Austrian partners in recognition of extracurricular achievements from vocational colleges or engineering practice. So all curricula were analyzed in detail, compared, and the course content optimized on this basis. All cooperative study programs have been accredited and proved for many years. So so this is kind of methodological innovation. So I have also a slide regarding BIM, Building Information Model. So we have a big laboratory for BIM. Students of many faculties, of many engineering faculties, may have classes and laboratories there. Yes, this is very advanced laboratory. Very proud of it. Yes, and it allows our students to implement. And thank you for your attention, and I am at your disposal for any further questions.
Thank you, Dr. Krikatov. We see that at your university we can learn a system, comprehensive approach to innovation as a whole curriculum in the field of civil engineering. So thank you. We completed our basic part of our panel discussion. So now we have an opportunity to use the free microphone. So now we may discuss freely. Thank you for your presentation. We met the allotted time. You've met and heard each other. I think that this discussion will have long-term implications for us and for future collaboration.
I would actually like to make an intervention, if I may, and I would like to go first. I was particularly interested. I mean, all the presentations obviously have a lot of value, but I was particularly interested on the presentation on the co-creation that Julian presented to the team. And as a matter of fact, I was wondering, so I have quite a direct question, maybe one could elaborate on that. But I was wondering whether techniques, whether these would be instructional techniques or pedagogical techniques or andragogical techniques, exist for, you know, co-creation to happen at different levels of education, whether these are educators in the sense of lecturers or part of faculty, or whether they are educators part of management. You know, and I'm quite interested to get to know more about co-creation techniques. So, you know, it's just an inquisitive question that I have, and I would be very interested to know about this, really.
Sure. Thanks for your interest in the topic. It's actually a very interesting concept, but it is not new by any means. There have been different versions already that have permeated the education industry since the 60s. I mean, in the 60s, those of you in the UK would have heard of somebody called Reg Revans, who created a concept called action learning. And he basically just saw this in action, you know, in the canteen of where he worked, where people from different disciplines and professions and levels would come together, and they just discuss a problem one of them had, and people gave different perspectives, and somehow together they managed to resolve the issue. And so this is a more structured approach. It basically considers all the stakeholders that you work with, or that you want to have within your working group. And that also includes the students. So rather than tell the students exactly what they should be learning and how, you bring them into the conversation. You make them an active part of that learning process. And as Svetlana also mentioned some of the problems earlier, when we had to switch everything to an online presence. I mean, how many teachers were prepared for that? Imagine your principal telling you, okay, from next Monday, you have to create all courses online. And where do you begin? How do you begin? And it's not just the teachers, it's also the students. If you're not prepared to study in a particular way, and you don't have the skill set for that, or even the aptitude, the way of thinking is different. And there are so many things that come in the form of learning. But if you pull together something, I mean, we did some exercises of this at a recent conference in Malta. And we brought people together and they weren't sure how it was going to work. But at the end of it, you will find that if we allow each other to express ourselves and we pull everything together, one main idea is going to rise above. And that is the one that we all agree on. Now, what are the downsides to this method? There are downsides, of course. And the biggest downside to this method is the time it takes. Because people have to get together to form a group and work together. They have to understand and put aside ego. They have to understand how to navigate differences in opinion, etc. And so it takes time to do that. But once you have your groups formed, it becomes very, very powerful, and you can actually co-create things very quickly.
Very interesting, of course. And of course, it relates to activity theory and transformative theory as well in a way. So I can understand this, and I would be looking deeper into finding techniques. So thanks for sharing this, Julian. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I do
Next
have a question.
Yeah.
It's one that Svetlana brought up, and which I think we are all struggling with in our own institutions, and that is the use of generative AI for probably responding to questions either in exams or essays. I mean, even in my own institution, we've already caught cases where students have literally cut and pasted the whole essay question into ChatGPT and then pasted the entire answer as their answer. And also, even in our exams, the online exams, people have been having smart devices, etc., that they're using to generate answers on ChatGPT. So I will steal Svetlana's question, but feel free to jump in, Svetlana, about whether or not we should encourage the use of Gen AI in education, and if so, how should we do it?
Well, maybe, as I said earlier, it's always good to have a new source of information, and if the informations are good. This is a very accurate technique to get to some informations and some knowledge. So it can be used very well as Wikipedia or any other source. For these essays and ChatGPT, I think this is also, this is of course not good, but if we take essays the other way, we try, students are writing the essay, but then you tell them, now let's talk about it. And let's talk about it publicly with other students. Let's hear what the colleague wanted to say, and then try with questions and some discussions to extract some of the critical thinking and analysis of students and of the student who gave such an essay. For programs or other stuff, you try to ask something, they should change and discuss this with you. So maybe this is a kind of way to use it properly. I don't know. And of course, there some of I think that in some level we should encourage students to use AI. But not only ChatGPT is AI. This is a very common way of thinking. But to use AI in some of their investigations about some trends which are going on in other topics.
Svetlana, don't you feel that the essay is like an outdated feedback tool? Maybe we need to introduce something new.
Yes, sure.
So, but it's so popular to ask our student to prepare an essay.
Well, essays are not that bad in my opinion, because a lot of students now lack this kind of verbal communication, and they are not good in writing writing reports and such stuff. So maybe by giving them essays, we give them a way to show their skills of writing, to improve skills of writing.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, so.
Okay. And can we upload an essay to Gemini or ChatGPT and ask it, is it generated by artificial intelligence?
I haven't tried. I haven't tried.
It's just a new idea. Just appeared in my mind that we can ask the same ChatGPT.
I've actually tried that.
Yeah.
I have tried that. And sometimes it doesn't, as is the way with generative AI. Sometimes it gets it right, sometimes it doesn't. I've actually uploaded genuine, authentic, extended writing that it said, oh yes, this looks like some of this has been but there's the lesson about generative AI, isn't it? To use it critically. Yes, but I think as a tool, it's phenomenal, I think, so long as it's used with that critical thinking and not just copy and pasting the results, engaging with the results and responses critically.
I think that it's a task for us to develop a new, more complicated tool for getting feedback. Am I right? So it's a challenge for us now, because it was very easy 2 or 3 years ago to give a task to write an essay, and now it doesn't work.
I'm actually quite happy about that, as some of my expertise lies in assessment, and I was always very frustrated by an over-reliance on the extended writing of an essay. I think that's where this sort of swing away from essays has come, particularly in our field, which is about developing competence. Extended writing is not the best way to evidence those transversal competences, We need to get more multimodal in our assessment, I think.
Okay, and from the SCAFFOLD deck, we know that there are at least 7 assessment methods. Please use them. Okay.
I would like to add something about the ChatGPT. It's not just the essays, but you can ask ChatGPT to write you a computer program, and it does in the language you want to. So this is much wider than essays. I just mentioned essays, but it's a quite bigger issue for us who work in computer programming courses.
I do have to run in a minute because I'm hosting another event in 5 minutes. But I want to say that for me, there is actually not too many differences between using something like a Google search engine and using Gen AI. They are both tools. For me, what is the important thing is the mindset behind using these tools. I have seen students, and they're good students, and they're students who need to have a different mindset. The students who need a different mindset are those who basically say, I have information at my fingertips whenever I need it. Why do I need to remember anything? Because I can just go and type and get the answer and meet my purpose right now. And it's a here and now situation. There is no need for them to internalize any of the knowledge, much less apply that knowledge. And for me, this is where it becomes dangerous. And we as educators need to understand that. And we also need to teach them about the ethics about using such things, because what are we training the Gen AI with? Where do the data sources come from? And so there are many things like that. And also, not all the information is correct. We had one student who basically cut and pasted stuff, and actually the information was all wrong. So, you can't just rely on an easy fix.
Yes, you're right, Julian. Yeah, it's true.
So on that note, I'm
you, Julian.
really sorry. I
So
would like to be with all of you, but I do have to host another event. So thank you very much for being with me, and see you all again sometime soon.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, dear friend, do you have questions, or let me close the discussion? I'm happy that you've been introduced each other. Oh, Olga.
Yes,
Yes,
I
please
want to
ask.
say, yes, I want to say to everyone, nice to meet you. And also, I'm very, very grateful to you, Vitaly, for introduce and invitation to this discussion. It's really very important for us because a couple days ago, we finished our course. It's course Conscious Creativity for Sustainable Development. It's academic course, 178 hours. And also several additional programs what can be useful for baccalaureate, for magistrant program, and also for MBA. And for me, it's very important to listen everyone, because now another question, how our experience provide more useful for other educational institutions. And I create some notice for myself, and I will share it with my colleague today in evening. And thank you very much. And a little bit more time, just a couple questions. We all of us know what means sustainable development, right? We said sustainable development, it's usual, we said about it 3 pillars, right? The first, it's economy, the second, it's environmental, and the third of our society. We speak, all of us, from a different angle, speak about the fourth. It's like chair has 4 legs, right? The fourth, it's culture of thinking. Culture of thinking, it's a huge depth. Like Vitaly showed in first your image, it's a huge depth, and we saw only what we can to see above. But all what we cannot see from the first time, it's what all of us to develop. How to learn, how improve learning process, how improve teaching process, how share with each other our experience, how provide unity, knowledge, and practice. We developed this course from self-coaching based on conscious creativity concept. So this my summary, very short. I understand it's time limit, but thank you very much. It's very important and nice to meet you. We will be happy to contact with you after. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Olga, for the feedback. Thank you. It's nice to hear your opinion here. Anything else? Or let me close our session. So I am grateful to you, to all of you. Thank you for your participating this anniversary meeting, 25 years of Institute of Innovative Professions. Thank you. So, bye-bye. I hope that we will meet in our future project, and in the current, of course, in current. Hazel and Zibo, where is Zibo? She left us. Okay, so
yeah, I'm here. I'm here, but the camera doesn't work. So.
I missed your box. So thank you. Goodbye. I hope to see you.
I see you. That was nice to see you all. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity as well. Best wishes. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye.